Here we go, episode 154 of The Hardline. Michael Merlo, John Michael Masiri, back with you for another edition of The Hardline. JM, it's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been since November.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's not...
We were talking about... No, me and Joe were talking about Thanksgiving. This was the week before Thanksgiving was the last time.
Yes, because me and Joe were after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about Thanksgiving, the most overrated holiday in the world. And
all right, good thing I wasn't here.
Yeah.
That is a actually ridiculous statement.
No, it's not. It's the most overrated holiday out there.
That's
the food
so not true.
Stinks. The
food is great.
The football usually
they don't
stinks.
have monogot and ravioli.
I want a little Italian food. And you genuinely like turkey? Do you genuinely like turkey? Because that's the main course. Okay, that's the main course.
If you could present to me a porterhouse instead of a turkey, I'll take the porterhouse. But like having it once a year, yeah, I like turkey.
But that's the main course. So you're telling me the holiday that the main
sides
course of
make
it. Okay, the sides make it.
And it's more about the vibe of the day and everything. Whatever. It's in the past. We're looking forward to Christmas now.
I love Christmas. Christmas is great, and it's not just about the gifts. It's the vibe and the colors and whatever.
My point with Thanksgiving, but no problem, bro.
Yeah, no. He's good off of Thanksgiving. Anyway, Week 14 was very interesting in the NFL. We're going to break down all of that, and we got a very interesting story to start with. But before we get to all of that, I just want to thank you for all the support on social media. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing on YouTube. Thank you for rating us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and leaving ratings and different comments and things like that. We love and appreciate the support. JM, Bill Belichick might be back coaching, and it might be back really soon. Mm-hmm. And he might be coaching a college football team, the North Carolina Tar Heels. He might be coaching in college for UNC. And it is legitimately the most shocking thing I've seen in a very long time.
I was just about to say, is this not the most random headline? Like, when I read it, I was like, what? Where did this even come from? Just an absolutely absurd story here. I'm shocked, honestly. I thought Belichick at this point would just have his feet kicked up and just be enjoying his retirement. I mean, you see him going on Pat McAfee and making his public appearances and showing some personality that we never saw before. And you're like, oh, it seems like Bill's happy. He's kind of doing what Nick Saban's got going on right now, going on College Game Day, doing his thing. They kind of sort of be on the same wavelength, right? And then all of a sudden this story comes out. So, I mean, dude, Go for it, I guess. Sure, we're 75. We have a, 25-year-old girlfriend. Let's screw it. I'll just coach the Tar Heels too. Why not?
By the way, not a bad-looking girl, 24 years old. That's all great. God bless.
That's a marriage, made in heaven for sure.
If you could pull it off, be my guest. I'm impressed.
Right.
Okay, it's gross, but I'm impressed.
What do we, you think everything's still working?
I would assume so.
Good for Bill.
The 24-year-old, 25, whatever.
If he could coach a football team, he could probably.
I don't think so. I don't think those correlate. But I was under the impression that all this media stuff, right? And you see the personality and things like that, and you see he could change in a way. I viewed this as, well, he's just kind of trying out for the next team that he coaches in the NFL. Right, in the NFL, not a college team, because this makes absolutely no sense to me. I mean, you want to go down as one of the greatest. He's going to go down as the greatest coach of all time, right? He could get the wins record. I think he needs 2 or 3 more years in the NFL, realistically, to get that wins record. This makes absolutely no sense. The college is a changing sport right now with all the NIL deals and whatnot, and it's kind of like NFL free agency.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me. This makes absolutely zero sense to me. And imagine Belichick and Brady and Gronk and Edelman, they were making fun of it on Fox on Sunday morning on the pregame show. Like, imagine a college student walking in and Bill Belichick trying to recruit you and then coaching you.
Yeah, it'd be miserable.
I mean, come on. How is this going to work?
I don't know. And the funny thing is, one of the biggest knocks about Belichick's tandem of being a head coach of the Patriots was how he wasn't the best GM. He wasn't the best drafter. He wasn't the best GM. But, he was such a good coach that he made up for it. So is Bill Belichick, when you're a head coach of a college football team, you're more of a GM than you would be in the NFL. So are you really going to want to play GM now?
JM, this is one of the more shocking stories I've ever seen.
And why UNC? UNC, they got a good football program, right? Not great.
It's not
good
Alabama.
Football program. It's not Alabama. So, why? Why UNC? You just want to screw it. I'll go coach for you. Like, that's the only thing I can think of. Screw it. He's got a friend there. Whatever. There's something missing here.
And, a lot of people have said, well, the son, Steve, I think his name is, he coaches, I think, at Washington right now. And, he could potentially take over the job when Belichick wants to retire. But it still does not make any sense whatsoever. Bill Belichick's son could probably get a job without Bill Belichick taking over.
Right.
And being the coach and then handing him over the keys. He could probably get a job himself.
Right. Yeah, he's the defensive coordinator for Washington.
Right. So it's not like he's some low-level assistant. He could get a job eventually if he continues to do a good job. He's a weirdo.
What is it with the Belichicks and the weird haircuts and the fashion sense?
Well, listen, again, dad's dating a really, really attractive 24-year-old right now.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think, if you're Bill Belichick and the stature, you could basically do anything.
You think?
Who knows, dude? Those Patriots guys, Robert Kraft.
Oh.
Down the, little massage room.
Sure.
Who knows
Wow.
What the hell's going on?
All right. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm, it's shocking.
Maybe he's salty about the end with the Patriots, and he figured the only way to get back at them is to go to Drake May's alma mater and tank the program.
Yes, that's exactly what he's doing.
Maybe that's what he's onto.
That's exactly what he's doing. I mean, but we're looking at reports here. If he's offered the job, he's going to take it.
That's
it
insane.
Seems close. They met for 5 hours on Sunday.
Yeah.
This isn't we're making this up. People are making this up. It's legit.
He admitted it on the Pat McAfee show today. He went on the Pat McAfee show and he confirmed that he was talking to UNC.
It is one of the more shocking things.
There's got to be some, I'm telling you, it's the son. It's got to be the son. It's something. He's getting a freaking, 20% of the school. Something's going on.
$20 million. How much would you have to pay him?
A ridiculous amount. Yeah, I would imagine
year.
At least. They're taking money from the basketball program. There's got to be something. What's the kicker? It's the strangest news story I've seen. Congratulations. It's December 9th, 10th when this comes out. I think this is the strangest news story of 2024 when it comes to sports.
We will definitely.
Completely out of left field.
We'll definitely take a look at this. I mean, again, these college kids.
Yeah.
What are they going to do when Bill Belichick walks in the room with his 25-year-old girlfriend?
Right.
That'll be fascinating.
Imagine going to lab and then a frat party and then the next day you have film breakdown
with Bill Belichick.
And he's like, "So what did you guys do last night?" Yeah. Nothing, coach. You weren't drinking, right?
You weren't drinking. You were watching film, right?
Yeah.
You broke down the cover two here. Yeah. See what they're gonna do to you. Yeah. No. This can't happen. This can't happen. I also want to see him back in the NFL.
Yeah, me too.
I sort of want to see him back, and I also think he's not doing a bad job media-wise. I think some of the stuff he does are interesting.
Yeah, I think that we got to chill with the Patriots and the media, though. That's enough. Brady, Gronk, Belichick.
Oh yeah, for you, it might
it's
be
unbearable.
Enough. Brady's terrible.
I
thought
terrible.
Brady would get better. Brady stinks.
It's so sad because you put on I forgot what was it, Vikings Cardinals, the game that Greg Olsen had yesterday.
Falcons, yeah.
He is thank you. Yeah. He is so good. I love Greg Olsen. Couldn't praise the guy enough, and it's a shame that he got kicked off that number one crew.
Yeah. No, it sucks. And Brady stinks.
Yeah.
And
nepotism.
Sure, he'll get better, I think. Mm-hmm. But he kind of
Yeah, but Greg Olsen hasn't been doing this too long either. He just stepped right in and was great.
No, Olsen's unbelievable. Yeah. He's the best. He's the best color guy, color analyst out of everybody.
Yeah, he is.
All right, JM. Let's talk about a really mid division.
Yes.
Okay? That would be the NFC South. There's one team in this division that if they were to win it and played a playoff game at home, I would say, okay, they could win a playoff game. And that is the Los Angeles Rams.
You said, okay, thank you. You said NFC South.
Did I say NFC South?
Yeah, and I thought we were not. I thought we were talking about the NFC West, so you kind of scared me.
Did I say South?
You said South.
NFC West.
I was scrambling. Okay, good. NFC West.
There's one team that could possibly win a playoff game, and I wouldn't be shocked, and that's the Rams. Everybody else, I'd be completely shocked.
I totally agree. We talked about them about a month ago. We talked about the NFC West, and this was when they were really even. Basically, everybody was 5-6, 6-5, something like that, and. You were saying you really like the Rams. I was like, hey, don't count the Cardinals out now. I would count the Cardinals out. I mean, the past couple weeks, they just look like a terrible football team, a team that had an opportunity to You had it right there. It was right in front of you. You had the chance to take the momentum in the division. They had the chance to do it on Sunday, make the division tight again with Seattle. Instead, they let Seattle move on to 8-5. Now they have a losing record at 6-7. So they're in a bad spot right now. The Cardinals, I'd count them out. And yeah, the Rams prove they did it last year too. When they get in stride late in the season, they're a very good football team. And that team is healthy right now. That offensive line is healthy. And when that offense is healthy, boy, is it fun to watch. I mean, they're doing whatever they want.
No, it was fun to watch even against the Bills. What a game. We're really not going to touch on the Bills today. We've talked about them so much. We could talk about that game and how amazing Allen was, but for the most part, like, that was just an unbelievable football game. We're going to talk about Puka Nacua in a little bit, so we'll save that for the later in the show. But the Rams are 6-2 in their last 8 games, and you mentioned it. They were just decimated by injuries in the first 4 weeks of the year, and they just continue to get healthy. The defense is very young, but they're athletic, and they're good on the defensive line, and they get pressure. And I think they match up well against the team that they're chasing and have a win against at the other team's home, and that's Seattle.
Yeah.
They match up well against Seattle. Seattle's offensive line is weak. Well, the defensive line for the Rams is good.
Right.
The strength of the Seahawks, their secondary, well, the Rams might have the best combination of wide receivers in the league.
Yeah.
So they match up very well here.
They do. And Seattle, I mean, they've been a very, very weird team in the NFL this year. There was a point in the middle of the season where we were like, are they good? Are they bad?
Right.
Going into that game against the Bills in week 6, I was like, all right, we're going to really find out if the Seahawks are good or bad. They get blown out by Buffalo, and you're like, all right, so they're bad. And then all of a sudden, wait, they're 8-5. So they're proving that they're better than bad, but
they're 8-5.
I'm still expecting them. I mean, the schedule coming up, I looked before. They got Green Bay, and then they got another really good team that I'm forgetting right now. But they're due. It might be LA actually. They're due for a couple losses coming up, and I do think if I was a betting man, which I am, I would put my money on the Rams to win this division.
The Rams will probably win this division. I agree with you. Although that game in LA, like usually you would say, oh well, they already beat them on the road. Now they're getting them at home. It's never really a home game for the Rams, which sucks for them.
Seattle's schedule to end the year, home against Green Bay, Sunday Night Football. That's next week.
Yep.
Home against the Vikings the week after.
It's a tough game.
At the Bears the day after Christmas, primetime game, which is a Thursday night.
Nice.
Christmas is on Wednesday.
Nice.
And then last game of the year at the Rams, which all signs are pointing to that's probably going to decide the division.
So we're going to have a very interesting scenario.
Yeah.
Okay? Because if we go look at the Week 18 schedule, okay, I'm going to pull it up right now. I'm pretty sure the Lions and the Vikings play Week 18, okay? Yeah. There's a chance that game is for the 1 seed.
Yep. Which is nuts.
Which could be wild.
Right.
And that game could possibly be for the division.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think absolutely.
And who knows what's going to be going on with San Francisco and Arizona. You know, one of those teams might get hot right now. San Francisco finally played a good game. Granted, it was against the Bears, who are just, oh, my God. What a tough watch they are. Just really tough watch.
You know, they were kind of exciting the last couple of weeks, though.
Yeah, they were. And then
yesterday
that happened.
I had the Bears.
You did. And when you sent me that text, I, forgot they were playing the 49ers. And then, when I turned the game on, I was like, ooh.
Well, you know why?
No, I don't want to beat you down in hindsight, but I wasn't a big fan of that.
You know why? You know why I had the Bears?
How come?
You bet the interim head coach in his first week.
You are big on trends like that.
Love that. Love that trend.
I'm more of the rookie quarterback debut guy.
Yeah.
Week 1's big for me.
Yeah.
You like the interim head coach. You big on death games also.
I love death games.
No bet on the Johnnies, by the way, right?
If I had an illegal book, I would have.
Okay.
That was easy.
Okay.
I wish I did.
Yeah.
If you could bet on New York teams here, it would have been easy. Rest in peace, Lou.
Yeah.
But
okay. What the hell's the guy's name? What's Otani's interpreter's name? Ipe? All right, Ipe. You got your illegal books.
So I'm just looking at Week 18 for possible flexes. That's really the only 2 flexes you could even think of.
I would think that, yeah, right. Vikings, Lions, if that's for the 1 seed or the division and the 1 seed.
Right.
That would be flexed in. And if not, then I would flex in Rams and Seahawks.
Because if that's for the division. You mentioned the other 2 teams, they're 6-7. If they did get hot, they also play each other Week 18.
Right.
Cardinals, 49ers. Right. So that could be interesting.
I see you have a question here, and
Yeah.
I know you're supposed to be asking me the question, but I would like to just
You
bring
can
it
ask me
up.
the question.
Was the Rams versus the Bills the most impressive win of the year?
It could be. That could be one of the more impressive
I
wins of
think
the year.
up to date it is.
Yes.
And I'll give you the reason why. There was a point in that game. It was 38-21, right? And you were like, wow, what a game this is by the Rams. I can't believe they're up by 17 on the Bills. They had just hit a nice touchdown, I think, to Cooper Kupp. That was the one like up the seam to Cooper Kupp, and you're like, okay, wow, what a play. They're going to win.
Right.
And then the Bills, like, you went to the bathroom and you came back, and like the Bills scored a touchdown.
By the way, that's exactly what happened to me.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Look at us on the same bathroom
Look at us.
schedule. We're nice boys.
Yeah. Wow.
You go to the bathroom, you come back, and it's like, what? It's 38-20. And like it just seemed like the Bills, you're like, oh, okay. The Bills are that good. They're going to find a way to win this game. But
Then it was
no.
the 3 and out. They
Yeah.
had 3 and out, got the ball back, scored another touchdown.
Yeah. The Rams just kept their foot on the gas pedal. I was thoroughly impressed.
Yeah,
And then the last play of the game, or not the last play of the game, but the last play for the Rams to that touchdown to Puka. What a wonder! You're killing me with these headphones.
Why?
This is like the third
it fell
time
out.
they dropped.
What was the other thing that used to fall out?
Yeah, no, it was I thought it was the headphones.
Was it the AirPods? The
Yeah,
AirPods used to fall out.
The AirPods used to fall out all the time.
Why were my AirPods in though?
I don't know.
What was I wearing?
Maybe
AirPods
was
for?
it AirPods?
Something always used to fall.
Were
Do you remember
talking?
this?
Was it microphones?
No, were we in person?
We were in person.
No,
yeah.
it was AirPods. It was AirPods,
AirPods.
online when we were online.
Oh,
I would
yes.
use the
okay,
AirPods.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, okay. Wow, that's back.
That's
Back in the
throwback
day.
to the Zoom.
That's back in the day. We haven't had a Zoom pod in a while. Good for us.
Yeah,
Look
we're
at us staying strong
staying
within person.
consistent here.
But yeah, very impressive win. That last play of the Rams offense to get that touchdown to Puka was such a cool play design. And I honestly thought it was going to be OPI, but like they timed it up so well. And I don't know what the rule is actually with blocking like that, because Kupp was like a yard and like a half
Right.
off the line of scrimmage. So I think technically like you could still block at that point, but it was a forward pass. I don't know. Anyways, it was a great play and it was a very impressive one.
Let's do this right now because I was going to save this for later, but we're talking about them right now. So Puka to me, like I love Puka. I've drafted him 2 times in fantasy. I added him, and then I drafted him this year. I love Puka Nacua. He's so exciting. Whenever I get to watch Puka Nacua, I'm like, oh, he's unbelievable.
That catch on the sideline was
He's a freak.
Crazy.
And he makes those kinds of plays, and I think to myself, how many receivers are better than him? So that's what we're going to do right now. How many receivers are better than Puka Nacua right now? Who would you take over him? You have the obvious ones, right? Of course.
Right. Get those out
Justin
of the way.
Jefferson, Jamar Chase. I think I would even say Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of those
Yeah,
guys.
you got it right. Yeah.
I think...
I don't know. He's so tough. I feel like I never see, no offense to him, but I feel like I never see Amon-Ra like in like big scenarios making these great like I feel like every time he catches the ball, it's like wide open, it's an out route, it's whatever. But I digress. This isn't about Amon-Ra. I'll give it to him out of respect.
Okay.
He was a first team All-Pro last year.
Okay. So yeah, we'll definitely give it to him.
Yeah.
Jamar, Jefferson, Amon-Ra.
CD
we could throw in there.
Yeah. Hill, you still...
I'm out on him.
He's coming back. He's had a good last couple weeks. I'd still give it to Tyreek Hill. He's had problems with his injuries. Tua was hurt this year.
All right,
I'll give it to Tyreek Hill. All right, let's start it right now.
Brown, A.J. Brown. Would you rather have Puka Nacua or A.J. Brown?
I'd rather have A.J. Brown.
I agree. I probably
I'd rather have
lean
A.J.
A.J. Okay, now it can really start. Who else? Garrett Wilson?
Puka.
I agree. Let's see here. Nico Collins.
Puka. I'd rather have Puka than Nico Collins for sure.
George Pickens.
Puka, definitely.
Drake London.
Puka. How about I was gonna say how about Cooper Kupp, but I'd take Puka.
I would take Puka at this point. I mean, it's kind of close, but I would take Puka.
We're also at a really weird phase in the NFL right now with wide receivers, I think. I think like over the years, the top wide receivers have been like more concrete. And right now, I feel like there's a lot of changes going on. You got weird years going on. Tyreek's having a weird year. CD's having a weird year. You know, some guys just aren't getting it done right now. And there's guys that are coming to claim the top spots.
I think the only guys, Tyreek, Chase, Brown, Lamb, Jeddah, Amon-Ra. That's 6 guys over him. That's 6 guys right now I would take over Puka Nacua.
I'd take him over Mike Evans.
I would take him over Mike Evans right now.
I mean, are we forgetting anybody major here?
We're not counting Devontae Adams still, right?
No. I'd rather have Devontae Adams.
The rookies, we don't love the rookies right now. The rookies haven't done much.
Nope. Yeah.
Terry McLaurin.
Nope.
No.
Puka. I'd rather have him than any of the rookies. Neighbors.
Jackson,
Harrison.
Smith, and Jigba.
Nope.
Yeah.
No DK. Nope.
6 guys.
Yep.
6
Ayuk,
guys you'd rather have over him.
Debo.
Oh, 100%. Oh, my God.
Those guys, yeah.
Easy.
Huh.
Jerry Jeudy?
Jerry Judy's a freaking...
He's third right now in receiving.
Yeah.
Third right
Is
now
he
in receiving
actually?
yards. Yes.
Holy
Third.
crap. Look at Jerry Jeudy.
It's unbelievable.
Which, by the way, we'll just talk about it quick. This A.J. Brown stuff, wild. Have you seen the quotes?
They scare me. They now scare me.
Oh, and your confidence of how far they're going to go. I mean,
A little bit.
you listen, A.J. Brown, he's been making, they literally asked him, what do you think the problem is with the offense right now? Just after one, C+ game for the Eagles that they ended up winning, and he's like, passing.
They
Literally
should have lost the game.
Yeah, they should have. Straight up just says passing. It's crazy to be making those statements when you're 11-2. Like, you have great things going for your football team right now. You really want to, put the whole diva charade on?
But, JM, as much as I like the team right now, and, they're the team I would pick to go to the Super Bowl, whatnot, defense is great, running game is great, offensive line's great, receivers are always
How about
great.
the coach?
The coach is, I like the coordinators. I don't like the coach. The one thing that holds you back is the quarterback at the moment. Yeah. You're a really expensive $50 million a year quarterback. He's holding you back at the moment because they can get the 1 seed right now playing the way they're playing.
Yeah.
But they can't win a playoff game or against the Detroit Lions if Jalen Hurts is throwing for 150 yards.
I still don't believe in them with the Super Bowl. I know you love them
I'm
with
all
the Super
over.
Bowl. I still got them not in that same tier as the Lions.
Well, we're about to talk about another team.
Yeah.
Headphones fell.
As the 4th time, the headphones fall out.
Third time.
Because you give yourself, if you just went on Amazon and looked up 6-foot-long headphones with an aux cord, you would be so happy. That'll be my Christmas gift to you.
Are you gonna buy them?
I will buy you headphones.
Okay.
Yes, I will buy you wired
Done.
headphones.
I won't buy them. I was about to go buy them.
Okay, I got you, bro.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's the holiday season.
Yeah.
That's the least I could do.
Mike's in a giving mood today. We're going to talk about another team here, and then I'm going to ask you a very interesting question about the Eagles. So we're going to kind of talk about another team here, but we're going to ask you a question. JM, the Minnesota Vikings are 11-2. Sam Darnold right now is in the top 5 of MVP voting, in my opinion. He's having an unbelievable season, and you asked the question. We were out to dinner on Saturday night, excuse me. I don't know why I said Wednesday night.
I saw this, that you said this on the Sunday recap, and you said a friend.
A friend.
Me. I said, hey.
I said a friend.
How was that friend?
He asked, would you be surprised if this team was in the Super Bowl? And we got to the Vikings, and I said yes. I said, no, I wouldn't be surprised. And then I changed my answer right away. I said, actually, I'd be a little surprised if they were in the Super Bowl. And then we watched them against the Falcons. And I had them -6.5, by the way.
Right.
And I changed my answer. No, I wouldn't be surprised because what Sam Darnold is doing and that defense is doing, they have a great coach. We know O'Connell's a great coach.
Yeah.
Jamie, it would not shock me if this team was in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean,
what was your answer? What was your answer?
My answer was yes, I would be surprised.
Okay.
I would, yeah.
Would you change that answer today?
Yes. No, I still would be surprised.
You still would be surprised.
They played very well against Atlanta, who I think, credit to you on this, you said that they were going to get killed. You've correctly predicted now 2 Falcons blowouts. And it's crazy that you've flipped on them because you loved them in the offseason.
12-13 win team, I
and
said.
Now you're just week after week, you're like, they're frauds. They're going to get blown.
Yeah.
The Falcons are a little fraudulent. Kirk Cousins, is having one of the biggest season declines I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane his first half versus second half. Taiwan Walker adjacent 2022 when he made the All-Star game.
My guy.
And then had a 7.8 ERA in the second half. I still would be shocked if Sam Darnold, and credit to him, he's playing great. He's got 29 passing touchdowns. But if they enter a playoff game and they were to beat the Lions on the road or Green Bay or Philly, and I think they could beat one of those teams besides the Lions. I just don't think they could beat them. In the right scenario, maybe they could beat them if they had a home game and whatever. But I would be genuinely shocked if they were the last man standing in the NFC. Like, genuinely shocked.
There are not many quarterbacks having a better year than Sam Darnold right now. Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. I would throw Allen into that discussion. And then that's about it.
Right.
There's no other quarterback playing better at the moment than Sam Darnold. And it's absolutely shocking. I think he's playing better than Goff.
He might be.
25 touchdowns, 10 picks. I mean, they're very even. They're very even.
Recently.
They're very even.
Yeah.
It's either way. It's either or at this point. They're very, very close.
But listen, they got. I know people don't like to hear sometimes advanced numbers, but I do. They got an expected win-loss of 9-4, so they're a little bit worse than what their record shows. And I don't think when you look at an 11-2 football team and when you look at the record 11-2 and you look at the Minnesota Vikings, I don't think you exactly pair the record with the team. Okay, I don't know if they're 11-2 good. I know that's what their record is, obviously, but last 3 games of the year, we talked about it before. We talked about Seattle. They play Seattle on the road, and then they play Green Bay at home, and then Lions on the road to end the year. So those last 3 weeks, just especially the last 2, will tell you all you need to know about the Minnesota Vikings.
And I think they'll lose one of those games.
Sure.
I think they'll lose to either the. I really don't think they'll lose to the Packers at home.
They'll beat Seattle. I think they'll beat Seattle.
You think they're going to beat Seattle?
I think just knowing, I think the football gods will give them that one. You know what I mean? Because I feel like Seattle doesn't deserve to win that division. I think the Rams are the better team, and I think Seattle themselves, they'll more screw that up than the Vikings will win that game.
I could also just see that being a tough game outdoors. Is that after or before the Packer game?
That is before the Packer game. That is Week 16 at 4:05 on a Sunday.
Because I think they're going to beat the Packers at home. The Packers haven't had a lot of success there lately.
No, they have not. It's been a very even matchup over the years.
They've split a lot.
They've split a lot. And Packers have won in Minnesota. They've lost in Minnesota. Vice versa.
Darnold won the game in Green Bay. Saying Darnold. The Vikings won the game in Green Bay already.
Which I was all over the Packers in that game. That was when the Vikings were 2-0, 3-0, and I was like, all right, here we go. Come crashing back down to earth. But they didn't. But that was also when Jordan Love wasn't completely healthy. You could tell that he's been getting healthier and healthier, and they've been getting stronger.
He played great against the Lions on Thursday night. He was really good in that game. JM, I think this team is legit, and I think the Lions will lose a football game before the end of the year. Sure. And I think the Vikings will lose one more, whether it's the Packer game or the Hawk game. I think they're going to lose one of those games.
Sure.
There's a chance that Week 18 game is for the 1 seed, and I am hoping and praying it's for the 1
seed. I
seed.
really hope it does, too. That would make for really good TV. Just real quick, because we were talking about it. Since 2020, this is the Vikings win-loss record against the Packers. I'm starting in 2020. Win, loss, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. So they're like, what, 5-6?
Do you know where they won? Like who's
let's see.
Where?
So they lost on the road, lost at home, won on the road, lost at home, won on the road, lost on the road, won at home, lost on the road, and then all right. Take everything I just said and flip it. I'm reading the Packers.
Okay.
Not the Vikings. But anyways, it's very even, and it's split between home and away too.
I feel like the last few years is I don't know why I remember it like this. The Vikings have beat them at home.
Really? I don't know why you think it like that either.
I don't know why. Maybe it was the last couple of years of Rodgers. They they didn't win there.
Sure. Yeah. But Mike, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna crank up the heat on you a little bit right now. You really think this team can make the Super Bowl?
I think they played a very tight game against the Lions earlier in the year. I think it's a division game, because if it comes down to the Lions and the Vikings, right? Like if that's how we're going about this, I think they could possibly beat them. I think they could beat them.
Yeah, but
it was a very close game. They won a game-winning field goal.
I feel like, especially at this point, once you enter the middle of the year, right? The beginning of the NFL season, it's kind of a crapshoot. You're like, anybody can beat anybody. But once you get into the swing of the season, you're like, all right, you should be beating these teams. You shouldn't be losing to these teams, all that stuff. Jaguars, Titans, Bears, Cardinals. Those 4 games, right?
Yeah.
The margin of victory between those 3 games is like 15 points combined, including an overtime game against the Bears and then a win of 1 point home against the Cardinals, who we're talking about right now as major frauds.
Yeah.
And then I didn't even include the Falcons game, who we think, they're collapsing right now and they just look absolutely terrible. So
they double their score.
Right. My point is, do it against some of the class of the NFC. I don't think they'll be able to once we get to the playoffs.
So let's compare, because I do want to have a Sam Darnold discussion also.
Sure.
But let's compare Darnold to the quarterbacks that he would be facing, because the one issue I would have with this team is, maybe they just don't have the quarterback to do it, right?
Right.
But then I compare Darnold and the season he is having to the other top teams in the NFC.
Okay.
And there's not much of a drop-off with one of them. And he's probably playing better than Hurts right now.
All right, I'll give it a wash with Goff because they're very similar.
Their stats are almost equal.
If I had to take one, I'd take Goff. I trust Goff.
I get that.
He's done it for longer. He's had more sustained success.
Agreed.
And that offense is just better. Obviously, I'm going to take Jordan Love over him.
Yes.
And then Hurts.
He's not having a better year, but yes.
I've been out on Hurts all year. I'm not just overreacting from this game against the Panthers. But again, it also doesn't, we could play this game just for fun saying the quarterbacks, but it doesn't always come down to the quarterbacks.
Perfect, right. And
then we're not even including Jaden Daniels and Matt Stafford and some of these other guys that I'd take over him.
This season?
This season. I would still take Matt Stafford over.
Stafford, yes. Daniels, absolutely not.
That I don't understand
This
at all.
season, I would not, just this season, going forward, I would rather have Sam Darnold than Jaden Daniels. Sam Darnold was having a fantastic season. I know Daniels
but I
is
mean,
too.
come on. You said it yourself when we were entering the NFL season of, wow, look at this situation that Sam Darnold is going into. The supporting cast is better for Sam Darnold.
But we're talking about a team going and advancing with their current team now.
What are we arguing right now? Are we arguing to take these 2 guys, remove them from their teams, who's the better quarterback that you would rather have, or taking into account the teams and how they've been playing this year, who do you trust to win more?
Right, All
right, I'd take Sam Darnold over Jay Daniels, but we're basically saying I take the Vikings over the Commanders.
Right. What I'm saying is Darnold in his current situation is playing as good as some of the top quarterbacks in the NFC,
100%.
if not better.
I'm not trying to discredit him. 100% he is.
And then add the fact that Flores has done a fantastic job with this defense here. And
he's going to get a head coaching job.
They're legit. When the Giants beat them in 2022, they were considered frauds, right? They're 13-3. Nobody thought they were that good, and it was because their defense was just crap. Their offense was loaded, and they had Cousins, but their defense was crap, and that's why the Giants beat them.
Yeah.
This season, that's not the case.
No.
They might have lesser quarterback play because Cousins in the last 2 years was unbelievable, but it's still close, and their defense is much better.
I still view them as more of like a wild card team. Obviously, they might end up like a wild card team anyways. They would be right now. But I mean, in that tier of wild card teams. That's what I view them as.
So let's...
Okay, how about this? Let me play a scenario out for you. I don't know how this would happen in terms of seedings. It wouldn't happen in the first round. But let's just hypothetically, for fun, say that they meet up in the playoffs. If the Vikings played the Rams...
It's a tough game.
At home...
It's a tough game.
What is the spread and who is going to win the game?
The Rams
at the Vikings.
The Rams were desperate a few weeks ago on Thursday night, and they got them. They beat them. I think it was the Vikings' first loss of the year.
Yep.
And they got them. And that was an expected drop-off win.
It was the Vikings' second loss of the year. They lost to Detroit the last week at home.
Right. My apologies.
But yeah, no, you're good.
The Rams were really desperate in that spot, and that kind of started them.
Lay the number first, and then you tell me if.
I think the Rams would be -1.5.
You think the Rams would be favorites on the road?
Well, the Rams would be at home.
I'm saying Rams at Vikings here. Okay, because the Rams won the division. All right, sure. Sorry, yes, my mistake. Rams are hosting the Vikings.
I would be -1.5.
Okay.
Very even.
I respect that.
Very even.
Yeah.
Because you're not getting too many
Well, the Rams
points for being
also,
at home.
is there really a home field advantage with them?
You're probably getting a point and a half for being at home. I think it's an even. I think it's very even.
They just don't have to travel.
Right. I think if it was in Minnesota's probably -2.5 because that is a legit home field advantage in Minnesota. Playing in that dome. It's a really close game.
I think I'd take LA to win the game.
I know, because usually that's how I would roll too.
Yeah.
I would probably take LA to win the game too. But would that be the matchup? So they're going to be, if ended today, it'd be the 5. So it wouldn't be the matchup. because.
But all right, forget it. Forget the seedings. Forget everything. This is all hypotheticals.
Yes.
All right. So then you would take the Rams to win the game.
No,
Confirm.
I would take Minnesota to win the game.
You're so full of it.
I take Minnesota to win the
No,
game.
you would
I
not.
love the Rams. I love them.
If you had your FanDuel open right now, you're telling me you're hitting the money line option for the Minnesota Vikings in that game. No free promos.
If the spread was -1.5, as I would predict it to be, I'd probably take the Rams in that game.
There you go. All right, now
that's because I have a lot of respect for the Rams and Stafford.
So flip. All right. I get it.
Because I had the Rams against the Lions last year.
Right, and we're both high on the Rams. But now take the Vikings out and slot in any of the Packers, the Eagles, and the Lions. Are you still going to take the Rams?
Rams at home.
Rams at home.
Definitely. I mean, we saw what they did to the Eagles. So we saw what the Eagles did to them.
What the Eagles did to them. But that does, that's the NFL's weird. The Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season all the time, then they lose in the playoffs. Doesn't matter.
I would take the Eagles.
I would take all three. I'll spoil my pick, but go.
I would probably take the Rams over the Packers. I don't believe in the Packers. I as much as I like Love, I don't believe in that team right now.
Right.
And I would probably take Detroit. Yeah, I would take Detroit in that game.
That surprises me that you don't believe in the Packers, though.
I like Love, but I don't believe in the team.
I don't really get that. They just had a pretty nice showing against Detroit.
No, they did. They played really well against Detroit. Jam, I have no explanation.
Right.
It's just like this weird feeling that something bad's going to happen.
I can't sit here and tell you that I would rank the Vikings ahead of the Packers in any scenario in the playoffs. Like if I had to put my money on one of those teams to go further in the playoffs, I would 100% put my money on the Packers.
I think the system that
they got they're more experienced at it. They've got the better quarterback. The head coaches are both great.
I think the system right now that Darnold is playing in is better.
Yeah, but I think once that system, that can only take you so far. Once you get into the playoffs and you're playing one of these big bad teams, it's gonna have to come down to talent.
They have a ton of talent,
and especially at the quarterback position. And I would trust Jordan Love more than I would trust Sam Darnold.
I would trust Love more too. But
can't you see Darnold kind of getting exposed?
Well, I thought we were getting to that point, and then he flipped the script here.
Yeah, but he played. Do I have to read the schedule again?
No, I understand he's playing lesser opponents, but it's still shocking to me that we thought we were seeing old Sam Darnold, and then it kind of flipped.
Yeah, well, he could come back at any point.
He could. 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions.
Yeah.
And now let me ask you this question before we move on. We are sitting here right now, right? They're 11-2. There's a chance they're the 1 seed, but we'll say they're not the 1 seed. And they go to the playoffs, and let's say they're in a divisional round or even get to an NFC championship game, right? They have J.J. McCarthy waiting in the wings. How do you sell to this roster next year if Sam Darnold is top 5 in MVP voting and you win a playoff game? How do you sell to the veterans coming back on this roster? Hey, guys, we're going to let Darnold walk.
Right.
And we're going to go with a rookie. And there may be some growing pains, and we might not be back in the playoffs this year because we're starting a rookie quarterback that was injured last year. Yeah. How do you do that?
You don't. You don't do it.
You keep Darnold.
You keep Darnold 100%. You at least keep him for another year. Darnold's going to want more than that. I think, if his agent's going to be like, bruh, give my guy more years.
Right.
He's proven that he deserves more years. But you're telling me, like, McCarthy hasn't played football in a year or 2 years by the time training camp comes around, really. And you're all of a sudden now, the guy's not developing at all. He got hurt.
Yeah.
Did he even play a preseason game? Did he play one preseason game and then he got hurt?
Yeah, he looked really good in
it
too.
So he barely even played. To me, I'd view it like his rookie year again. All right, yeah, it's his second year, but this is just rookie year again. Let's have him develop now for a year or whatnot on the bench. Try to get Darnold to a 3-year deal. Maybe you could work the contract out. You could cut him after 2 or something like that. And then McCarthy slides in.
Almost impossible to keep him on a 1-year contract, though.
Oh, impossible.
He's going to get, at the bare minimum at this point, today, the Daniel Jones contract.
Yeah.
And I think it could be more.
There's going to be a team I'm trying to think right now at the top of my head, but there's going to be a team that has a steady offense that wants him.
And I tried doing this last week, and I couldn't think of a team.
Well,
where he fit.
He wouldn't go back to San Francisco. They have Brock.
Right. I can't think of a team. With the Saints? Don't look at me. No, none of them. Not either of them. Not either.
I'm not saying the Giants. I was going to say the Jets.
No.
But that's why I gave you that look, because I'm like, please no.
No.
That ship is
never happen.
I don't know.
Saints?
Maybe the Saints. Maybe the Saints are like the only Kubiak, that system.
Yeah.
It's similar to what they ran in San Francisco. It's similar to what O'Connell runs. Yeah.
Saints are the only team.
I guess the Saints. I mean, the Browns, the Watson's coming back from the Achilles. Who knows what they're going to do with Jameis? I do think Stefanski would like Darnold.
Yeah, it would work.
That would work.
It could work.
Maybe the Browns are the other option. But I mean,
they're not going to pay a quarterback. They're not going to be able to tie
I mean, what are you going to do with Watson?
$100 million.
What's
probably.
Watson's deal? 5 years?
Yeah.
What is he? 3? This is his 3rd, right?
They're screwed.
They're screwed. It'll be over eventually.
I know. I think this is second year. This is the second year. They have 3 more years.
But he's been on this is his 3rd year with the team. But what, the deal kicked in after the first year?
Yeah.
That's great. That's good.
They're
It's
screwed.
good for them.
Or it might be a 6-year deal.
Are we forgetting anybody? Nobody in the West.
Nobody in the West.
Like why? Like the Raiders. The Raiders are gonna have a great pick. Why would they want to?
Teams like the Giants, the Raiders, they're gonna be drafting quarterbacks. But the Titans?
No,
I don't think so.
The Titans.
Not the Colts. Not the Jaguars.
Sam Darnold, you are a Minnesota Viking. Why don't they keep him?
That's gonna be interesting.
And you never know. Something might open up in the offseason.
Or do you try trading McCarthy?
You could also try that.
Not a strong quarterback.
Try to trade him to a team that lost out on a quarterback in the draft.
Dable.
Yeah, no. Honestly,
are you still employed? Oh yeah. You want JJ McCarthy?
Yeah, but I mean, the Giants had the opportunity to draft him. I don't think they're that crazy about him.
No, but they might have been crazy about him at 11 if they had 2 picks in the first round. But
this is what I don't get. And I know we're kind of bouncing around here, but it's good conversation. The New York Giants, right?
Yeah.
Dumpster fire, right? Just like the Jets.
Yeah.
Terrible. You have a premier pick in last year's draft in a quarterback class viewed as once in every 5 years, right? Yeah. You don't see that quarterback class come around every year.
Agreed.
It was the best one we saw since 2018. So, and maybe 2021, which ended up being absolutely horrible. Everyone sucks. Lawrence was supposed to be the only guy, and he even sucks. But you have an opportunity to draft a quarterback there, and you're like, you know what? We're not we really wanted Drake May, whatever. Let's get Malik Neighbors. We just can't pass up on that talent at wide receiver. Mm-hmm. But now, look where you are. Your team is rock bottom. Malik Neighbors is unhappy. So why put yourself through that? I don't get that ever with teams. If you have a premier pick and you need a quarterback, just take a quarterback.
Well, and I actually argued with one of our friends about this yesterday. And I think in certain situations you can do this. So there's 3 quarterbacks off the board. The 2 you loved, 3 you loved are gone. Right. And you feel as though you're reaching at 6 and you have a premier player at 6.
Right.
Probably take that premier player. If you really don't have conviction in one of those other 3 guys, which was Penix, McCarthy, and Nix, then that's fine. And I don't blame them for not taking those guys because as good as Nix is, I think Nix is in a great situation with Peyton. And I think if he was on this Giant team, he would stink. Yeah. So I don't necessarily hate that, but I would also sound like a hypocrite to the one friend that I'm talking about in saying, if the Giants have the 1st or 2nd overall pick, I don't care what happens. You have to take one of these quarterbacks.
Right. Well, with my argument here, I'm assuming, we're using McCarthy as the example with the Giants. I'm assuming the Giants liked McCarthy enough that they would be comfortable taking him in the 1st round. It was more, we love Neighbors. We can't miss out on Neighbors. If you have a day 2 grade for a quarterback and you have a top 10 pick, don't pick the quarterback. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But if you liked the guy... if you're okay, we draft this guy, we're comfortable calling him our franchise quarterback, we think we can develop him, then why pass up on him?
Maybe, I would have to assume the Giants didn't think that.
I guess not.
Because regardless of what they said at Hard Knocks, you know that they were done with Jones after last year, regardless of what was said.
Yeah.
You knew they were done with him. So if they did have some sort of conviction in McCarthy, then maybe. I don't know. I mean, all the talk was that they liked McCarthy, but maybe that was just all smokescreen.
Right.
To get somebody to jump them to get McCarthy, so then a really good player could fall. I also think they wanted Alt. I also think they were interested in Alt.
Yeah.
But
I like that.
It would have been great.
Yeah.
Alt was picked.
Pick another offensive lineman.
Yeah. I mean,
Add to the list.
Christ. I mean, Evan Neal. What a mess. And, obviously we're not talking about it because we're a football podcast, but I'm so with the Mets. I'm so checked out on the Giants right now. Like, it's just I have no patience for them. I really don't.
Me too. Yankees, Knicks, and Johnny's are all I think about these days.
Johnny's big win.
Big win.
But yeah, Sam Darnold. He could be back. He could be back there in Minnesota. What a story.
What is my life? We're talking about Sam Darnold.
What a story.
With the Minnesota Vikings.
Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell should be coach of the year. Who else should be coach of the year?
He should.
Tomlin.
He should, though. Tomlin should
Harbaugh.
get it all the time. This guy's
Harbaugh.
ridiculous. Harbaugh. Hold on, let me think. Honestly, I won't lie. Joe said this to me the other day, and it actually did shock me. LaFleur has never gotten like a top 3 coach of the year vote.
Well,
isn't that nuts?
A little bit.
I guess because
He's a
it's the
great coach.
Packers, and like it's not. They never really had like a terrible moment in their team's history where you're like, wow, they overcame all these odds.
If Campbell gets coach of the year, I'll freak out.
Yeah.
I'll freak out if Campbell's coach of the year.
Yeah. No, he's not going to be coach of the year.
Knock the headphones out again.
Who else are we missing out on? Tomlin deserves recognition. Peyton,
Peyton,
might get one.
Harbaugh, O'Connell,
Dan Quinn.
I
know
think
you're not great about the commies
I'm
right
not,
now,
but I think, and he was. I think that's cooled off a bit.
Okay.
I think it's cooled off a bit.
I think
but
everything
would
with them is
definitely
cooled
consider
off.
it. Yeah, I would consider it 100%.
Okay.
Quinn's done a good job. I like Quinn.
I like Quinn too. Mike, what are we up to now?
We're up to the NFC South, which is just kind of gross. But we're going to talk about it because I wanted to talk about him last week. We didn't get a chance. And we spoke about how bad the Falcons were earlier in the show because they got killed by the Vikings. But JM, like, it's dead, right? The 12 wins, of course, is dead. They're probably not winning this division. Mm-hmm. I think at some point, and it doesn't have to be rushed. Like if Penix isn't ready to go, like if they're sitting at practice and they're like, no, Penix is not ready to go, then of course you're not going to make the move.
Right.
But if you are sitting there and you're Raheem Morris and you're like, he's looked really good in practice and, we think he's ready, I think I would make the move. I think I would go to Penix here.
I would not. I would definitely not. Listen, he hasn't played great, Kirk, and who knows what the reason why is. I don't know if it's just him. I don't know if there's problems with the offense. The play calling's been bad. I'm not an Atlanta Falcons fan, so I'm not too familiar with it. Right. But I think to do this right now with the situation the Falcons have, I understand, yes, they're still in contention for this division. It's a weak division. It is every year somehow. I mean, literally, ever since Drew Brees retired, like this division is just like terrible year after year. It's awful. And I'm sorry. And Brady left the Bucs. So the last like 3 years, it's just been awful. I mean, listen, I don't know if it's smart to, in his first year, to now decide, you know what, let's put the rookie quarterback in and create this black cloud over our team going forward of, well, are you going to move on from Kirk now? Is Penix finally going to be thrown in there? Or are you going to put him back on the bench? Like, I don't know if that's the best thing for Michael Penix. I don't know if that's the best thing for Kirk Cousins. I would wait it out until next year.
So you think it could possibly stunt his growth here? If
I
he
think
went in there and he
right.
I
think it could stunt his growth to do that in the middle of a playoff race 100%. I think it could just create drama around the organization that they just don't need right now, and that if I'm Raheem Morris, I wouldn't want to deal with. I understand. You're like, hey, this team's competing for the playoffs. You got to do whatever you can to put the best product out there. I think sometimes as football fans and as fans in general and human beings in general, we think any change is good. That's not necessarily true. No. I mean, we just saw Matt Eberflus get fired, and the Bears have the worst offensive output I think I've ever seen in my life, and I'm a Jets fan. So
that's aggressive.
I don't know. All right, first half output. I mean, 4 yards? I don't know if that's the best thing for them to do in the situation. What I would do instead is start Kirk, ride it out, see what happens. I think that I could definitely see Kirk playing better down the stretch. He's a veteran quarterback. He could still throw the ball. He had a great first. That's the weird thing about this. He's coming off an Achilles. He had a good first half.
I know.
And the second half, he's
doesn't make
down it.
sense.
But
he was still immobile and things like that, and he really wasn't putting that zip on the ball we were used to. But perfect snap, by the way, as I said, zip there.
That was nice.
That was instant.
Right on cue, on beat.
Oh my God! I don't think I ever get better than that.
Here's the thing, though. I'm looking at Cousins' contract, and does this sound familiar? It's a 4-year deal they could get out of it after 2.
Out after 2.
Out after 2.
Out after 2. It's huge.
But here's the thing. I was going to say, if I'm them, start them, and next year, if you want to talk about quarterback controversy and if things aren't going well, you bench Kirk in the middle of the year, whatever, because you'll get out of it after 2 years, and that's it. But it says a potential out after 2025, but it also brings on $35 million in dead cap. $25 million in 2026, which is a lot of dead cap, and then $12.5 million in 2027. That's really the year you can maybe get out of it.
I think they're going to get out of it after next year.
And they're just going to have to eat that dead cap.
I mean, think about it.
You're not paying Penix.
That's the thing. So you look at the Broncos situation. I think he's going to be gone after this year.
Who, Kirk?
Kirk.
How are they going to do that? They're going to trade him?
No, they're going to cut him, and they're going to deal with the dead cap because
whoa. $65 million in dead cap next year.
Next year.
$65 million.
Yeah. Oh, so they'll cut him after year 2. Okay. But either way, I mean, look at what the Broncos are dealing with Wilson right now. You think they care about that dead cap?
No.
They don't. They have Bo Nix. So if you hit on the quarterback,
leading a team to
and
the
good
playoffs.
for him, by the way.
Yeah,
I love Russ.
Yeah.
But I love my Broncos.
Yeah.
But
my Broncos is crazy.
Shout out to my Ducks, Big Ten champs. They don't care about the dead cap if you hit on the quarterback.
Right.
I think you got to see what Penix does in Week 18.
Okay.
Week 18.
Ooh.
Week 18 start.
Ooh.
Week 18 start.
What if that's actually for the division?
Oh, no. Then no.
So you're just assuming they're eliminated Week 18.
Do you think this team's going to be competing? I know they're one game out.
They're one game out. You never know what's going to happen. The Bucs didn't look so. They won by 15 points, but boy, did they look like crap.
Baker's great.
Baker's might be baked.
Baker's great.
But
28 touchdowns.
Yeah. If they're eliminated, then yeah,
Week 18.
Definitely throw them out there Week 18.
Penix, man, I'm excited to see what he could do.
Yeah.
Electric arm. And the Bucs, I mean, you mentioned them. They didn't play great against the Raiders. This team, I mean, with Baker at the helm, it's so impressive. They lose Canales, and yet they've been really good offensively. And this offensive coordinator might get a head coach job. He's going to be interviewing. Yeah. They've done a fantastic job this season. And, James, I cannot believe I'm saying this. New York football, we're just so on both sides. Former coaches, players.
Right, everybody's great.
Like Bowles, I'm shocked by Todd. I thought Todd Bowles was going to be in and out in Tampa. How can you can't say a bad word about the job that Bowles has done in Tampa? And I can't. That's one of the biggest shocks to me. One of the biggest shocks to me.
And to me, like, he's so under the radar, right? Like, I feel like nobody ever talks about the guy, and that's his personality. He's got that, like, he's very quiet. He's not a very talkative guy. His press conferences are almost comedy because he's kind of awkward. He's monotone. Yeah, he's awkward. Yeah, credit to him. And you're right. It really is crazy. Everybody leaves New York and they just go on these great runs wherever they go.
Move the franchises.
They're clearly, to me, the best team. I still think they're going to get shellacked by whoever they play because I just think this division is terrible.
Yeah, I agree.
And this Bucs team is not the Bucs team they were last year, for sure. But they're still good enough to win this division.
Can we talk about Bryce Young for a second?
I was just about to say, it's a shame that the Panthers can't make the playoffs because they were so bad in the beginning of the year. That's a damn good football team right now. That's a pesky football team.
I wouldn't say they're a damn good football team, but yeah, they're pesky. They're interesting.
They're not. I wouldn't take them to actually win a playoff game, but I'm just saying.
Jam, I'm really
Chiefs and the Eagles down to the wire.
I'm really happy for Bryce Young because he really does look confident. He's playing well. He had that bad drop by Leggett, which what the hell are we doing?
Terrible.
They should have beat the Eagles the other day.
The first one was worse than the second one.
Yeah.
The one over the middle of the field was bad. The second one, tough catch, I guess I'll say. It was
good ball.
Yeah.
Bryce has played well. You give credit to Canales. They threw him back in there, especially after that Giant game, and he played well in the Giant game. And then, obviously, we saw what he did after the bye against the Chiefs. And the last 2 weeks, I mean, they should have won the game against the Bucs.
They should have, yep.
They had the fumble by Chuba.
Yep.
And then this week. So they're playing good football. They're definitely a pesky team. They're not they're not even close to the worst team in football. I mean,
No.
At one point they were the worst team in football.
Right.
They are
If
definitely.
they played the Giants at home, they'd be 5.5-point favorites right now.
Oh yeah, 100%. They're pesky football team, like you mentioned. So good for Young and good for this team, and they're definitely out of the conversation of drafting a quarterback. I think Canales wants to see what he has next year with Young and improving this roster. They don't have many receivers.
Yeah, let's also remember that this roster sucks. Like it's still a very bad team. So I'm excited to see, as Young progresses here, if they could put some more pieces around him. And I'm not talking, go get him the flashy wide receivers and everything, because that's not what football teams should do. Build up this offensive line. Get a the run game is pretty good with Chuba. Get a better defense, and maybe you draft some later round receivers or something like that, or get a veteran receiver in free agency. Even though Thielen's been great for him,
right?
But yeah, I would definitely address protecting him first and foremost, and then going from there. Very
interesting. What's happening in Carolina? Very nice. All right, JM, you can start us off with the hate club here.
Ooh, Mike, I got a good hate club. My hate club is if you were scrolling the social media platform known as Twitter, otherwise known as X, never going to call it X.
I only call it Twitter.
You might have strolled upon a video of a certain college football head coach and a certain NFL football head coach at some sort of dinner or something like that. And that is Deion Sanders and Antonio Pierce. Holy crap. They were talking at some sort of dinner, and Deion grabs the mic, and he says, "Hey, as long as you draft my two boys, we'll be good." And, this seemed all very playful and stuff like that. But my question is, what sort of recreational or illegal substances is Deion Sanders taking that makes him think that is in any form a good idea? Because, number one, who's going to tell him Antonio Pierce is not going to be there next year if Mark Davis has a brain, which I don't know if he does. And also Shiloh Sanders, I mean, sure, UDFA, you could go sign with the Raiders, bro. Good for you. Wow. Maybe Mr. Irrelevant will get you the jersey. Wow. But why in the hell would Shadur Sanders want to go to the Las Vegas Raiders?
He wants to go there.
So why?
I don't know.
Genuinely, why?
Listen, they believe in the culture that Pierce is building. I don't know.
What culture? They suck.
Tough, hard-nosed football.
Yeah,
hard-nosed. Listen,
you will get yelled at when you lose by 17 points every game.
You know how much I hate the Raiders, and you know how much I hate Pierce. I honestly believe that they're going to use this as a selling point. For whatever reason, Sanders loves Pierce.
I don't get
Deion loves Pierce.
Right.
And I think he's going to tell Davis, hey, keep him. Draft my boys.
They've been a dumpster fire, though, over the past, decade?
They could be getting to a point where they're worse than the Jets or the Giants. If this continues, they could be. They could get worse.
And they got a better stadium than us, too. And they still can't do it right.
They do have a really nice stadium.
They got a freaking nightclub in the bottom of it. What do we got?
We got to go to that stadium. We have nothing.
All right, so let's just look real quick at the NFL draft order and see what teams need quarterbacks, right? Because this could all these teams are still in contention for the number one pick, right? Yeah. Raiders, Giants, New England doesn't need one. Carolina doesn't need one. Jacksonville? No, they signed an extension, but if they didn't, they might be looking for one. Yeah. Tennessee needs one. Jets need one. Cleveland needs one, but will they draft one? I don't know.
Yeah.
If the Cleveland Browns had a top 3 pick,
they would take one.
They really should.
But they're not.
So let's just say the Jets, the Titans,
Giants,
Vegas,
Raiders.
The Giants. Is that it?
I think
those 4 teams?
I think that's it.
Out of all those 4 teams, you would want to go to Las Vegas the most?
I would sit out a year.
So would I. I mean, it's not like most of those options are great.
I would sit out.
I guess maybe the most attractive one. We don't know who the coaches are going to be, but maybe Tennessee. Callahan. Maybe you trust Callahan.
I like Callahan a little bit. I don't know. I mean, if I have no clue.
I would pull an Eli Manning. I would say what? I would say don't draft me.
Yeah, but it's not like you're saying don't draft me and I'm going to go to another team. It would just be like a Peyton Manning, and he would just sit out a year because remember he didn't want to go to the Jets.
Yeah, I guess.
So I would just stay in college if I could. I would stay in college another year.
But honestly, I don't get why these guys don't do that more often because now they're making money in college.
Right. I don't know.
So stay.
I don't know. I mean, Shador's going to want to go
Obviously,
to the Raiders.
there's risk for injury, risk for poor play, but I mean, I think we're talking about this is like the best PR out of a college athlete since like the LaMelo Ball and Lonzo Ball days. So
I think also like as dysfunctional as the Giants and Jets have been, I think a player will say, "Hey, it's New York." New York.
No, honestly,
and they'll
say,
okay, there's a new coaching staff. Hopefully, they figure it out.
Right.
Finally, you got to get one right.
And then they take an exit off the Jersey Turnpike and like, where am I going?
Yeah, and then you see the swamp and whatnot. It's disgusting. It's the worst stadium in the league.
We've talked about this so many times on this show. It is disgusting, that stadium. It's actually disgusting.
The only good thing is that there's a racetrack right there.
Yeah.
The FanDuel Sportsbook. It's about it.
There's
nothing around it. Are there even any bars over there like you could go to before or after the game?
No.
It's just a $75 at a parking lot.
Yeah.
It's really it.
What is the entertainment experience, too? Like, what is the appeal? The team sucks. There's no festivities going on in the parking lot besides people doing their own tailgates.
You saw there was nobody at the Giant game yesterday.
There's nobody. Yeah, no, there's nobody.
Nobody at the Giant game. When we were there a couple weeks ago for the Jets Seahawks game, there was a decent amount of people there. Yeah. But it probably like a little bit more than halfway filled. It was not halfway filled yesterday. The Giant game. And good. The Jet and Giant fans should stop going to these games.
They should.
Like the Giants.
Also, that's the thing. I would make this my hate club if I could make another one, and I think you should. Why, like, you put the TV screen on? Obviously, you're going to the game. Who knows if these people are all diehard Giant fans or if they're going just to bring the kids or whatever. But like, the Giants are driving down the field to potentially give themselves a worse draft pick already eliminated from playoff contention with a quarterback who's not going to be here next year and maybe a head coach. Like, the team is just it's like a bastard team.
Right.
And they get like a first down and you got fans like pumped up, like, let's go. Like, that would be my hate club. Like, I'm not one of those fans who's like, you root for your team no matter what. Like, no. Like, when your team is
this bad,
when you're spending money to watch the team and their gear and all that stuff, and they just disappoint you year after year, you got to put your foot down at some point.
No, my hate club would be it's this simple. Why are you going to the football game?
Right.
Why? Like, we had a commitment. You commit to things before the season, fine.
Right.
But if you're sitting there on a Friday or a Saturday and you're like, I'm going to buy a ticket to go see the Jets or Giants play this weekend, you're a loser.
Yeah.
All right? Like, please do something more productive with your life. I mean, there's so many better things you could do. You could read a book. You can do your homework.
Right.
You could watch every other game going on that's productive.
Donate to charity, something.
Right? Like, come on. I mean, you could have gotten into MetLife Stadium yesterday for $1. The get-in price was
actually
$1
absurd
on some of the secondary markets. Like, that's how bad this is. So my hate club is stop supporting the Jets and the Giants. Stop going to games. Make it look embarrassingly empty so that change finally starts to happen. Hopefully. I don't know.
I'm just out of curiosity looking up what the ticket is for Jets at Jaguars this weekend.
I'm pumped to see.
Let's see. What is the ticket prices to get? Starting at $23, and that is on Ticketmaster 6 days before the game. So just imagine Sunday morning, you are talking dollar amounts.
It's 30 degrees out. The wind's blowing. Yeah. I mean, I can't think. We had a great time. Tailgate, JM's family. We had a great time at the Jets-Seahawks game. And the Seahawks are an interesting team.
Yeah. Well, MetLife Stadium does sell alcohol, which is nice.
Yeah. So
they've doubled up on stock recently.
So we had a good time, and it might sound like hypocrites, but genuinely, you're gonna wake up on December. What's the date of the game? December what?
Oh, you're talking about. Well, this one's in Jacksonville, but
okay.
Whatever. Next week, Jets home against the Rams.
Okay, so let's just picture the game. The Jets.
All right, what's the price for that game? $37 right now. Okay.
Jets.
Ooh, they're
making money.
Up to $1,050. That must obviously it's got to be a suite or something. I mean, we're at that point. I mean, oof.
Let's just imagine Jets Jaguars was in MetLife Stadium. Okay, it was at MetLife Stadium. Right. Next week, December 13th, 14th, whatever the date is. Could you imagine going to watch Mac Jones versus old Aaron Rodgers and the 3-10 Jets?
Yep.
You legitimately need to be a psychopath. In 30-degree weather in December with the wind blowing at MetLife Stadium, it makes it feel like it's 10.
Yep.
You got to be an absolute psychopath to go watch that football game. I hate people like that. Stop going. Stop going to the game.
Knock it off.
You're not much of a die. You're not that much of a diehard. You're a psychopath.
Right. You're not making a point.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're actually the problem.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, Jay. Yeah, very nice. We really hated on diehard fans there.
Yeah.
As if we're not diehard fans. As if JM and I weren't at a Mets game in 2019. Remember this Mets game we went to?
Oh, yeah. Mets Marlins.
Mets Marlins. We were trash talking Lewis Brinson right field. We sat 3 rows from the wall in Citi Field for $15 that day. The Mets were out.
You remember who was the starter that day? I think it was the Mets. He was a Met and a Marlin.
Oh, God. Now tell me.
Jordan Yamamoto.
Wow. He was the starter that day?
Jordan Yamamoto. I don't remember which team it was for, but Jordan Yamamoto.
That was the end of a good season for the Mets, though. I mean, it was an exciting season, but that was the end. Then they were out of it by then. All right, Jay. We'll talk to you guys next week. Break it down week 15 in the NFL. We're almost done, and we're getting to the postseason, so a lot of other discussions. Check us out on social media this week. We'll be active there, and we hope you guys have a great week.